Well, it's another lovely summer day around here. I probably walked about 3 miles trying to get that stupid 15-meter no spin to stick on camera, and I missed. But it's okay. I'll get it again eventually. But right now, I want to do a quick throwing video and just showcase some of the knives that I like the most. And the reason why I like them is because they're not originally throwing knives. They're repurposed. Or they're a knife that I turned into a throwing knife. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I get questions a lot, and I see a lot of questions in the knife forums and the throwing forums, and I get personal emails from people wanting to know where I find my cheap knives, or what knives, not where I find my cheap knives, but what knives can they find pretty cheap that will work for throwing. And I always tell them the same thing: make them yourself. And it doesn't have to be difficult. Here, I call this a claw. It's my favorite knife to go to these days, and all this is a 1 inch wide by 1/4 inch thick piece of plain steel that I cut in an angle, and I haphazardly beveled it to make a point. That's all there's to it. It's not sharp at all. It won't cut you, but it'll stick. And I stuck it at 14 meters, and hopefully it came out all right in the film, because you'll have already seen it by now. But these are my favorite go-to knives for no spinning. I mean, they're very easy to throw. I can throw them different techniques, different styles, and they just work for me. And they used to be my training knives for when I, wanted to try a technique out in a regular knife. I'd beat the crap out of these by missing all the time with that, and then when I figure out with this, I can figure it out with a regular knife. Anyway, so there's that. There's lawnmower blades that you can turn into bowies or whatever knife you want. There's this, which I have no idea what kind of steel that is. I found that in a junk pile. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to take this bar of steel, and I hammered on it until I came out with something that looks kind of like a pregnant bowie. It's got a little pop belly to it. But hey, it works. And I'll show this off a little bit. It's nice and thin and pointy, so it'll stick in the target. And if you really want to know, like, if you don't want to make anything, here's a good knife. You don't want to spend more than $6 or $7. Here's a good knife. Found that on Amazon. I think it was $6.97 or something like that, including shipping. It was free shipping because I'm a Prime member. But anyway, this worked really well. The handle broke off, but it's full tang, or close to full tang, so I can still throw it, and it works fine. It's kind of fun. The only problem is I tempered it a little too much, so it will bend. But if it bends, it doesn't break. And breaking is really hard to fix, but bending is easy to fix. Just hammer it. Anyway, well, enough talking. Let's see how these things perform. One of the best questions I get, one of the only questions I get is, what's my throwing technique? Because if the people that ask me this aren't familiar with knife throwing, and they say I look weird, and I do. I don't have any style points or any real technique. I just throw it, and it's called a no spin throw. And sometimes it hits the target, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, what no spin is you take the knife, and when you release it at a 90-degree angle. It's perpendicular to the ground, and then it floats down parallel to the ground, and that's when it sticks, theoretically. And I like that because I don't have to think about where my feet are or how far I am from the target, and I don't really have to think about what knife I'm holding because I throw the knives the same way. Doesn't matter what knife it is. So I can just take it, look at the target, and I can throw it and hopefully stick it. No big deal. And then I can take something like this, totally different, throw it the exact same way. Yeah, kind of cool. Well, that's not to say I don't like spin throwing too. What I refer to as spin is rotational. You know, in the movies you hear the knife flipping through the air and stuff. It's called rotational throwing. I like to do that too, but that takes a lot more effort for me because I have to think about what I'm doing. So like, for me personally, at about 3 meters, I'll throw the knife from the blade and it should stick for me. Then I'll just move back to 4 meters if I want to do a full spin. And by full spin, it means I hold it by the handle and it goes all the way around. So to take a knife, take this one, for instance. A little different than the other one, but it should still work. Just take it, aim, and it should still stick. And then as you go back with meters, you go from, when I go 5 meters, it's a blade throw. Maybe I could throw this one. Let's give it a shot. I don't know, this one's really short, so who knows? Oh, well, I hit another knife. Let's try one of these. Come on. Yeah, there we go. I had to miss the other knives. But, you know, that takes a lot of consideration. For me, anyway. And you might not know this, I don't like using the old brain box. I just like to do things. Well, now I'm just going to do some no spin throwing, which is my preferred way of throwing. It's the only one I'm really comfortable with. And I use that for a warm-up, and then I'll move on to trying to do conventional throwing, which is what I talked about earlier with the rotations and the air blade throw, handle throw, stuff like that. So, alright, let's just get to it. It'd be nice if I never missed, you know, but I'm only human, and I'm not a good knife thrower. I don't do it well at all. But, you know, I try and I have fun at it, and that's pretty much what I like about it. Just, it doesn't hurt anybody, and it's kind of decent exercise. Well, now I'm warmed up. I'm going to try some underhand throws. I'm pretty much warmed up now, so I'm just going to let off a little bit of steam, throw a little bit harder. This is kind of like what I like to do. I go from 5 meters to 7 meters, and I throw pretty hard and see if I can get it to stick, and then move on to conventional throwing. And then I have some aim games that I like to do for myself, just to keep my hand-eye coordination good. Anyway, let's see what happens. Well, I went to 8 meters. No big deal, right? Let's see if I can spin one in. Oh, I got one. That was the luckiest thing ever. I didn't even know where I was. Oh, here we go. Isn't that kind of neat? Yeah, I think it's kind of neat. Alright, well, now I'm going to do some conventional throwing. And then I'll go out, you know, same thing, 6 or 7 meters. Start at 2. Let's keep going back. Totally unexpected. I don't even know where that last one was. I think I was almost 9 meters. But anyway, not too bad. It's actually fairly decent for me. I'm proud of it. Well, now I'm going to play a little bit. Ooh, bug in the eye. Alright, well, I think that's good enough for today. Gave you guys an idea of what my everyday practice is like, which was the other question that I had this week. So, there you go. Here you go. Let's look at that. That's not too bad. That was a mixture of no spin and conventional spin all the way out to 7 meters. Neat, huh? And one had to fall right then. Alright, you guys have a good one.